Hey, deserving listeners, sister wives, let's watch.
Last year, I made the meat turkey, the animal turkey, and Mary made a Rice Krispie turkey, and she stuffed it with chocolate candies and stuff.
Oh my god!
Wait a second, wait, what is that? Oh my god!
That's so.
Okay, so to catch you up, we're now in season 18. I think there's 19 total seasons. And I think that given where they're at, they're talking about Thanksgiving that's coming up, that they are filming in 2021. That's or maybe 2022. I don't know. But there's that. And let's see. Christine is renting a house in Salt Lake City and is loving life. And I believe her. She seems like she's free and happy and back to her old bubbly, maybe even the most bubbly of self. She even seems to be kind of, I don't know, regressing isn't the right word, but finally able to be silly in all the ways that people want to be silly, like about dating and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, so then I just thought I would mention that over the seasons, over the last 17 seasons, whenever the topic of the Thanksgiving turkey comes up, it always seemed to me like it was a badge of honor to whichever sister wife made the turkey. It in the moment kind of made them the top sister wife, and it was often bestowed upon them subtly or maybe even outside of his awareness. But Kody seemed to be like, ooh, I like it when you make the turkey. And they're like, ooh, he likes my turkey, that kind of stuff. Anyway, so they're talking about last Thanksgiving, in which it was Mary and Robin and her kids and Kody, and Robin made the turkey, and Robin saying, and then she also brought a turkey, and it was this. And although that looks disgusting to me, I would probably eat it. Because what it is it's the Rice Krispie treats thing. And then it has all the, and it had, it's actually presentation-wise better than you would imagine, because the colors of each of the candies, because, you have the candy corns, which I know are controversial. I'll eat a few of them. I'm not going to shove a handful down my pie hole, and then you got the what do you call it, the pecans, and then you have some sort of chocolate thing, and it looks like maybe some Thanksgiving themed M&Ms, maybe, I don't know. And then you got the turkey that she molded, from the Rice Krispie treats. Now the key is that peanut butter Rice Krispie treats, because Rice Krispie treats is, to me, not so great, because I'm not a big sugar person. I'm more of like a peanut butter, salt, savory person. So when you add peanut butter to the crunchy marshmallow bits, then I'm in. And my kids, my brother's kid makes a really, they have a tradition of making the peanut butter Rice Krispie, in a pan, and then with fudge on the top with like swirls of peanut butter. Oh my God. So good. Anyway, so I don't know. I just thought as this family falls apart, I'm looking for some goodness, and yeah, it's good.
Okay, listen, I have done the turkey for years. Kody used to like my turkey until he had Robin's, and I guess hers is
right. You know what I mean? Yeah.
that much. That just sounds. Mine is sweet, hers is savory. He could like it both if he wanted. He did sign up for liking everybody's turkeys. Can we just stop?
Sweet and savory. Which are you? Or both? Or something else? Umami? Any umami turkeys out there? Ooh, mommy.
She and her kids are going to do Christmas separate from us. It broke my heart. I was very sad to hear it.
Thank you. So Gwendolyn's not going to be here for Christmas. I was sick during her birthday with, was laid up with COVID.
You were also out of it. She was.
Was she thinking that was funny too? I was out of my mind. But when I
Sorry,
talk about
I'm
getting
so-
anxiety, Christine, and depression,
I know, and I'm sorry to even laugh a little bit, but Gwendolyn was like,
Okay, so this is, I think, a little peek into possibly what Kody is suffering from. Yeah, whether or not you care or have compassion or maybe even blame him for what he's talking about, the depression and anxiety. I want to rewind that and really, because you don't really hear talk about that. But first off, I'll catch you up. They are getting together to talk about the upcoming holidays, to coordinate everything, but also to, I guess, have, I don't know what you call it. Like, well, we are now co-parenting and we're still friends. So I think it's that kind of, I think mainly that's what it is. It's a gesture of goodwill and this is our new relationship. And so we can hang out and chat and be civil and we're not going to like be at each other's throats, particularly him. But he is talking about how he missed someone's birthday or that he was very sick with COVID. And she kind of chuckled, said, "Oh, it's really funny." And Kody said, "Oh, did her kid think it was funny?" Let's rewind that.
I was very sad to hear it.
thank you. So Gwendolyn's not going to be here for Christmas. I was sick during her birthday with, was laid up with COVID.
you were also out of it. She was.
Okay, so he is saying, yeah, so for Gwendolyn's birthday, I was sick and out of it. And then she says, kind of laughing, yeah, she was telling me that you were really out of it.
She thinking that was funny too? I was out of my mind. But when I
Sorry,
talk about
I'm
getting
so-
anxiety, Christine, and depression,
I know, and I'm sorry to.
I really wished he would finish that sentence. So, so I think what's happening is he is saying, yeah, I was really sick. And what he was hoping for from Christine would be like, oh, really interesting, or wow, how was that? Or yeah, it must have been hard, or something. I don't know. But instead she is laughing. And, Christine, maybe she's laughing out of discomfort, or she just doesn't have any compassion for Kody. She can hang with him and be cordial, but she doesn't like him. That wouldn't be strange for that to happen. So she just doesn't care and might even take some glee in his suffering as within reason. So she has that reaction. And there's also a bit of worry on his part of what's happening behind, when I'm not there. Is everyone talking shit about me, my own kids, whatever. And so he said, oh, did she think I was funny too? And you could see it, it's pretty clear. It's hurtful. I don't know what scale it's hurtful, but it's and it'd be normal for him to be hurt by that. And then he says, you don't understand, I want to rewind that.
You were also out of it. She was.
was she thinking that was funny too? I was out of my mind. But when I
Sorry,
talk about
I'm
getting
so-
anxiety, Christine, and depression,
I was out of my mind. And, when we talk about getting anxiety and depression, and then he stops and she says, what was that? Because I've been wondering, a while back, I was like, is this depression? It wouldn't necessarily be the only thing, but it has that look to it. And it doesn't excuse his behavior, but it could definitely at least conceptualize that shift that he had, that seemingly he was just a different dad, a different husband, a different person on this show. And he's saying, Christine, when we talk about anxiety and depression, and how is that related? Maybe he'll say, but I'm guessing we've missed that boat, but how is that related? I think maybe because of, he's saying like worries. So that, that's interesting. The worries, he doesn't seem like an anxious person, right? But people who have anxiety disorders, they don't necessarily show it. In fact, they often won't, because it's normal to them. Some of the most easygoing, relaxed people, are the most anxious people you've ever met. So there's no, the cartoon version. So he doesn't have that he's not of that stereotype, but that doesn't mean anything. He could be highly anxious. And he's saying that word, which is interesting. I'll also say that he is a number of times in the last season, he was using the word triangulation, which I think means that he's either reading stuff online or he is talking to a therapist, hopefully. Anyway, and he was using it kind of accurately, depending on the usage, I suppose. But anyway, so, okay. So he's a little hurt by that. And, because I think a lot of people assume, and maybe Christine as well, that his COVID precaution rules were just an excuse to push everyone away. And maybe it was. Maybe it was in part. But Occam's razor, he was terrified of COVID. And that's okay. And everyone has the right to have their reaction. Now, what he's to blame for is to not put in the warmth and the love as the entire family was not all in alignment regarding what to do about COVID. He could have continued to disagree, but been loving and caring and attentive while even following his own rules. I've already been over that. But anyway, so he says, Christine, with the anxiety, depression. So he's connecting it. I don't know. I'm like, it's like, I want to see into the room, and the door went like this. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. And if you sign up, please use the link below because that really helps us out. So it's summertime, y'all. And I don't know about you, but I always associate summer with vacation times and not working so much. And, I've been lately trying to establish a better work-life balance. So this summer, I'm definitely going to lower my work stress. When it comes to that sort of thing, we often think about summer vacations, but we don't always have time or energy for that sort of thing. So we might need more frequent, smaller things to do throughout the summer, right? Like going for a walk in the sun or checking in with your therapist. Well, a great place to find a therapist is at BetterHelp. If you're thinking of starting therapy, it's definitely worth giving a try. They have over 35,000 therapists with a wide variety of styles. And as the largest online therapy provider in the world, BetterHelp can provide access to mental health professionals with a diverse variety of expertise. So unwind from work with BetterHelp. Our listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/Kirk. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/Kirk.
Civil war with the family. The very beginning, the first reaction was relief. I went from that to anger. Because what I started doing was literally going online and trying to research, if you're getting a divorce, how do you manage keeping things amiable with kids and stuff like that? And what it is just this really big, walk away from women movement. And it's about angry men who have been.
All right. A while back, I wondered if, and it was a long shot, if he, during this conflict with Christine, he was going online and being affected, influenced, brainwashed by what I was saying, the incel, MGTOW, MGTOW, red pill community. And at the very least, we're hearing that he was going there, and probably often. He's saying, I was going through the divorce and the difficulty, and I was having a hard time dealing with it. I went online. This is a very common story for men. So he goes online, heterosexual men, heterosexual cis men. He goes online, and he says he finds this going your own way, or what did he say?
Things amiable with kids and stuff like that. And what it is just this really big, walk away from women movement.
Walk away from women movement. And maybe there's another movement in there somewhere, but I'm thinking he's either just generally talking about red pill incels, or he's talking about MGTOW, men going their own way, MGTOW. And I was wondering if that was influencing him because of all the talk about patriarchy and about control and loyalty. And it's a cult. I've seen it. it cultivizes men. And yeah, I'm going to take a guess and say that y'all have seen it online, or you know men in your life who have been brainwashed by this cult. And I don't use the word cult lightly. It takes in disaffected men who are confused and hurt, understandably. They're scared, they're lonely, and they're demoralized, as all of us are when we go through a breakup. Even if we were to blame, even if we did the breaking up, it can be demoralizing. And because our culture does not have available communities that are not toxic, I mean, just think about, where are you going to send a guy, or where would a guy randomly end up if he goes online and he's sad and depressed and he's looking for answers about why his marriage fell apart? There's nothing. People say, well, I'll go to therapy. Okay, well, that's just behind closed doors. There's no casual hangout discussion group place. I mean, there are, but I mean, there's like a subreddit called X Red Pill, I think it's called. But the SEO for that is tiny compared to actual Red Pill and actual incel, actual MGTOW, and what was in the past called the pickup artist community. They're not all the same. Like, when I equate MGTOW and incels together, incels will yell at me saying that we're not like MGTOW, we're completely different. And MGTOW will say same. I'm just like, there's a theme among you that I am identifying. There's differences. Okay, fine. But you all share the theme that feminism has ruined society, and that men actually don't have more power than women, and women use their sexuality against men to control men and will use it as a carrot, the whole thing. Anyway, so I was wondering if that was fueling the fire, because what Robin will say is that during that time, maybe still now, he's against women in general. Robin was saying, Robin was saying he's not just against you three and pro me. He hates all women, just women. He hates women. And, she could just be saying that, but there were little hints here and there, and I was wondering, and it wouldn't surprise me. This is why Andrew Tate is so popular, and certain aspects of Jordan Peterson, and there are nuances there, of course. There's if you just picked a random podcast episode of Jordan Peterson, some of it would be totally fine, but some of it obviously has some problems. Anyway, I can't imagine anything by Andrew Tate. But I don't know. I haven't actually looked, but there's a reason. There's a reason. Andrew Tate, you can look at him and say, like, what a dork, what a misogynist, what a criminal, what a horrible human being. Okay, but why are so many men turning to him? It's because we don't offer these men anything else. And we socialize the men from birth to value what Andrew Tate represents. Men don't come out of the womb misogynistic. Right? So it makes sense. We don't offer anything. And when men even try to find something, as a society, we are instantly suspicious of it, even if it's on the up and up, unless it's like obviously not a threat, Anyway, I try to do my best. I've been, from the beginning of this podcast, trying to provide a place for this, and I've actually talked some men away from the incel community. They will, one of the very first episodes that was kind of not a big deal, but a big deal to me, was I received this email from a guy that was saying that he was on the precipice between incel and not. And he wanted me to convince him not to, but he wasn't sure if I could convince him not to, because he was starting to see the light, according to him. And it was a long email, and I responded to it on an episode. And as I was posting it, I was hoping that other incels would come across this episode. And if I named it like talking an incel back from the brink or something, incels wouldn't click on it, or they would be biased when they did. So I named it how to meet women. It was a bait and switch. And indirectly, if you want to meet women and have a successful relationship, being an incel, literally, I mean, it's literally involuntarily celibate, an anti-dating. Anyway, men going their own way. And, if people want to go their own way, totally fine. And if people want to join a support group along those lines, totally fine. But when you look at the bylaws and the bullet points and the rhetoric in those groups, it's not just that. It's a place to hate women. So, and to just make shit up and use propaganda. Anyway, so like one of their points is like, how can men have more power when men have been the ones that are sent to war to die? Women don't have to do that. So women have more power than men. It's like, well, okay. I mean, it's a data point. We can look at that. But let's look at the big picture and let's look at the science. Let's look at the data. Let's look at the research. Let's look at the numbers. And there's nuances, of course, and people on my side of things will go too far with stats sometimes that are more nuanced than they will make it seem. So I'm not going to say that the arguments are always unfounded. But anyway, so yeah, what was I saying? Anyway, so he says, men, moving. What do you say?
Sort of, how do you manage keeping things amiable with kids and stuff like that? And what it is just this really big, like, walk away from women movement.
Walk away from women movement. And then he mentions the kids. I don't know, but just speculating. So let's say that he's in the beginning of the process of it's like in the very beginning of the breakups or the rifts are starting to happen. And particularly with Christine. And he's worried about custody of the kids, right? Because he just completely rejected the kids that were not Robin's kids, and so I mean, maybe he if Mariah was still living at home, he would be fine with Mariah as well. I don't know, but so it's total speculation. But he's worried about that, and then he goes online, and what they will claim is that women will always get custody because society is biased against men and judges are biased against men, and women will convince the kids. Oh, that's interesting, right? Because one of the things in the incel MGTOW community is they'll say, when you go through a divorce, you better watch out because eventually, in order to get custody, just to screw you over, she will get the kids to claim that you're abusive. And then you might even go to prison. So watch out. Better lawyer up. Better start fighting early. Better establish the battleground early. Well, what did Kody do? He was convinced that Christine and Janelle were getting the kids against him. And any indication of disloyalty from those kids was catastrophized by him. I'm sure this isn't the only reason why this is happening, but it could have been an influence.
And it's about angry men who have been left, and I think that might have been a touch of poison because I got angry. So I'm going around to Robin and to Janelle, and they feel like I'm a woman hater.
Okay, I didn't think we would actually hear. So he's saying it's like poison. There's all these men are angry at women, and I think he said hurting, I'm not sure, but they're angry, and that was poison to me. And then I was going around because I was fueled by that, and wow, yeah, well, horrible, unfortunately commonplace, but great that he sees the light now. So are things going to be different? All right, well, let's adjourn there. And everyone out there, please take care of yourself because you deserve it. You really, really do.